Imagine waking up to the news that a group of thieves has pulled off the biggest heist in history, making off with a whopping £2.6 million. That's around £50 million today. The Great Train Robbery of 1963 was a daring crime that left the world stunned. But here's the catch. It was almost the perfect crime, or so they thought. On a foggy night in August 1963, a gang of 15 robbers, led by Bruce Reynolds, set out to steal a massive haul of cash from a mail train traveling from Glasgow to London. The gang had carefully planned the heist, studying the train's route and timing to the minute. But what made this robbery so special was the gang's clever use of inside information. The gang's inside man, a fellow named Ronnie Biggs, had provided crucial details about the train's cargo, including the fact that it was carrying a large shipment of banknotes. This wasn't just any ordinary cash. It was new, unserialized notes, making it nearly impossible to track. But how did Biggs get this information in the first place? As it turns out, Biggs had befriended a fellow prisoner who worked for the Postal Service, and he had unwittingly spilled the beans about the train's valuable cargo. This bit of inside information was the key to the whole operation, and the gang was determined to put it to good use. But here's the thing. They only had a 30-minute window to pull off the heist. The gang chose a remote spot in Buckinghamshire, where the train would be traveling at a relatively slow speed, making it easier to stop. They used a set of forged signal flags to bring the train to a halt, and then, in a clever move, they used a fake postal worker to convince the train's staff to open the doors. But what happened next was pure chaos. In just 20 minutes, the gang managed to unload £2.6 million in cash from the train, using a human chain to pass the bags of money to a waiting truck. It was a well-oiled machine, with each member playing their part to perfection. But as they made their getaway, they left behind a crucial piece of evidence, a glove. The police were quick to respond, and soon they had a team of detectives scouring the countryside for any sign of the robbers. But the gang had carefully planned their escape route, using a network of safe houses and false identities to stay one step ahead. Or so they thought. As the investigation continued, the police began to close in on the gang, using a combination of old-fashioned detective work and clever forensic analysis. They discovered that the robbers had left behind a trail of fingerprints, including one particularly incriminating print on a metal bar. But whose print was it? The print belonged to none other than Bruce Reynolds himself, and it was the break the police needed to crack the case. But Reynolds was long gone, hiding out in a safe house in London. Or so he thought he was safe. The police had been watching Reynolds for weeks, waiting for him to slip up. And slip up he did, when he made a careless phone call to an associate. But what the police didn't know was that Reynolds had one last trick up his sleeve. Reynolds had planned a daring escape, using a set of fake identities and a network of loyal associates to spirit him out of the country. But the police were hot on his heels, and soon they had him cornered. Or so they thought. In a shocking twist, Reynolds managed to talk his way out of the situation, convincing the police that he was just an innocent bystander. But the respite was short-lived, as the police soon discovered his true identity. But what happened next was even more shocking. Reynolds was sentenced to 10 years in prison, but he only served 5 before being released. And in a bizarre turn of events, he even wrote a best-selling book about the robbery. But the story doesn't end there. The Great Train Robbery of 1963 remains one of the most infamous crimes in history, a daring heist that captivated the world. But what's often forgotten is the impact it had on the victims, the train staff, and the postal workers who were left shaken by the ordeal. The robbery also led to a major overhaul of train security, with new measures put in place to prevent such a crime from happening again. But as we look back on the Great Train Robbery, we're reminded that even the most carefully planned crimes can have unexpected consequences. The Great Train Robbery of 1963 was a crime that will be remembered for generations to come, a testament to the power of human ingenuity and the importance of never underestimating the determination of those who seek to break the law. So what can we learn from this infamous crime? One key takeaway is the importance of meticulous planning. The gang's attention to detail was what made the robbery so successful. But it's also a reminder that even the best-laid plans can go awry, and that the consequences of our actions can be far-reaching. As we reflect on the Great Train Robbery, we're also reminded of the importance of teamwork and collaboration. The gang's ability to work together, using their unique skills and strengths, was what made the robbery possible. But what about the role of chance and luck? The Great Train Robbery was a crime that relied on a combination of careful planning, clever deception, and a healthy dose of luck. But as we look back on the events of that fateful night, we're reminded that the line between success and failure is often razor-thin. The Great Train Robbery of 1963 will always be remembered as one of the most daring crimes in history, a testament to the power of human ingenuity and the importance of never underestimating the determination of those who seek to break the law. And as we conclude this story, we're left with one final question. What's the real legacy of this infamous crime? The Great Train Robbery of 1963 may have been a crime, but it's also a fascinating story that continues to captivate us to this day. And as we look back on the events of that fateful night, we're reminded that the truth is often stranger than fiction. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the world of true crime. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating stories.